Welcome to You Certify CompTIA A+ Must-Know Glossary Terms.
Term. .app files. Definition. In macOS, the application bundle files that contain all the files and folders that make up the application. Term. .bat script files. Definition. .bat files are script files that are strictly Windows-based. They are text files that contain commands or instructions for the command line interpreter to execute. Term. .dmg files. Definition. Disk image files in the macOS, similar to ISO files in Windows. Term. .js script files. Definition. JavaScript is a programming language that has many uses today. It is valuable for creating scripts because it can be run on any operating system. It is usually written into web pages to create client interactions. JavaScript is read by the browser. Creating and running command-line JavaScript requires installing Node.js. Term. .pkg files. Definition. In macOS, these are compressed application files. Term. .ps1 script files. Definition. Windows PowerShell is a tool to help technicians and network administrators automate support functions through the use of scripts and snippets. Windows 10 and 11 ship with PowerShell. Term. .py script files. Definition. Python is often a good choice for those beginning to learn programming. It is relatively easy to learn, and Python scripts can run on most operating systems. For example, Windows Shell is known as Python Interactive Shell. Term. .sh script files. Definition. A shell script is a text file that contains a sequence of commands for a Linux or Unix-based system. Shell scripts might not run correctly on a Windows system. Linux has had several shells. Bash, born-again shell, is the most common of them. Term. .vbs script files. Definition. VBScript, a scripting language developed by Microsoft, is considered a subset of the Visual Basic programming language. It was designed specifically for use with Microsoft Internet Explorer and gives web pages a level of interactivity. Term. 3-2-1 backup rule. Definition. The 3-2-1 backup rule/scheme is an easy way to define the practice of keeping 3, 1 primary plus 2 backup copies of data, 2 methods of storage for the data, for example, local and cloud, 1 local backup off-site in case of fire or storm damage to a facility. Term. 3D printer. Definition. Commonly known as additive manufacturing, or AM, a 3D printer comes in two flavors: fused deposition modeling, or FDM, which is 3D printing in a tabletop environment, and stereolithography, or SLA, which is a newer 3D tabletop process that involves photopolymer resins and lasers. The most common material used with 3D printers is a strand of plastic filament that is fed from a spool to a moving printer head. The printer head heats the plastic and thinly layers it on the printing platform in cross-sections that eventually build up into the 3D object that has been designed on the computer. Term. 802.11a. Definition. A wireless Ethernet standard that uses 5 GHz radio signals and provides performance at rates from 6 megabits per second up to 54 megabits per second. It is not compatible with other 802.11-based wireless networks unless dual-band access points are used. Term. 8202.11ac, Wi-Fi 5. Definition. A wireless Ethernet standard that uses 5 GHz radio signaling for performance up to 1300 megabits per second. It uses MU-MIMO antenna technology. Term. 802.11.ax, Wi-Fi 6. Definition. A wireless Ethernet standard that uses both 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz bands, with increased speeds up to 9.6 gigabits per second. Wi-Fi 6E improves upon Wi-Fi 6 by supporting the 6 GHz band. Term. 802.11b. Definition. A wireless Ethernet standard that uses 2.4 GHz radio signaling for performance from 2 megabits to 11 megabits. It is compatible with 802.11g-based wireless networks, but not with 802.11a-based networks unless dual-band access points are used. Term. 802.11g. Definition: a wireless Ethernet standard that uses 2.4 GHz radio signaling for performance up to 54 megabits per second. It is compatible with 802.11b based wireless networks, but not with 802.11a based networks, unless dual-band access points are used. Term 802.11n, Wi-Fi 4. Definition: a wireless Ethernet standard that uses 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz radio signaling for performance up to 600 megabits per second. It uses MIMO antenna technology. Term, command name, /? Definition: a Windows command that displays help for the specified command. Term, acceptable use policy, AUP. Definition: a company's policy for employees that pertains to user safety, security procedures, and computer best practices within a company. The policy is designed to keep the network safe. Term, access control list, ACL. Definition: a list of permissions or restriction rules for access to an object, such as a file or folder. Term, access control vestibule. Definition: formerly known as a man-trap, an access control vestibule is an area with two locking doors that is used to enforce physical security and monitor for unauthorized access to a building entrance. Term, Active Directory. Definition: a Microsoft solution for managing users, computers, and information access in a network. Term, Ad Blocker. Definition: a tool that integrates with a web browser and uses filtering to block specific advertisements. Ad blockers assist with online privacy and help to avoid spyware-infected ads. Advanced Encryption Standard, AES, a protocol that is similar to TKIP. AES is more secure and is used with the WPA2 wireless encryption standard. Term, Advanced RISC Machine, ARM. Definition: a processor architecture that is based on reduced instruction set computer, RISC. ARM is the most widely used instruction set architecture. ARM processors are low cost, have minimal power consumption, and generate lower heat, making them ideal for devices such as smartphones, tablets, laptops, and other embedded systems. Term, Advanced Technology Extended, ATX. Definition: a family of motherboards that has dominated desktop computer designs since the late 1990s. An ATX motherboard has the following characteristics: a rear port cluster for I/O ports, expansion slots that run parallel to the short side of the motherboard, and a left side case opening, as viewed from the front of a tower PC. Term, Android. Definition: an open-source operating system based on the Linux kernel and used mostly on smartphones and tablet computers. Android is developed by the Open Handset Alliance, a group directed by Google. Term, Android Package, APK. Source. Definition: format for applications to run on the Android OS. Term, anti-malware software. Definition: software that scans for infections that antivirus software might have missed. Term, antivirus software. Definition: software that provides real-time protection against threats from local files, websites, and email. Term, Apple File System, APFS. Definition: the Apple File Allocation System designed to work with SSD and flash drives. Term, application spoofing. Definition: the act of a malicious application imitating a legitimate application and tricking the user into revealing passwords or other sensitive information as they interact with the false app. This process is very similar to a phishing attack. Term, application virtualization. Definition: allows users to access applications from a different computer than the one where the application is installed. Term, apt-get. Definition: a Linux command used to install or manage APT, Advanced Packaging Tool, software packages. It is common in Debian-based distributions such as Ubuntu. Term, authentication. Definition: the process of verifying user identity. Term, authentication, authorization, and accounting, AAA server. Definition: and AAA server is used to examine and either verify or deny credentials to a user who is attempting to log in to secured networks. Term: Automatic Document Feeder, ADF. Definition: a feature found in printers, photocopiers, and scanners that automatically feeds a single sheet of paper from a stack of paper into the machine. This allows the user to print, scan, or copy without needing to manually feed paper into the machine one sheet at a time. Term: Biometrics. Definition: the use of a person's biological information, such as fingerprints, retina scans, or facial recognition, to authenticate a potential user of a secure area. Term: BitLocker. Definition: full disk encryption software by Microsoft that can encrypt the entire disk. After encryption is completed, authentication is required to access the drive. Term: BitLocker to go. Definition: BitLocker functionality that is extended to removable drives. Term: black screen. Definition: the absence of video output during the boot sequence. It can indicate cable or software issues. Term: blue screen of death, BSOD. Definition: an error in which the screen background is blue, or sometimes black, with the error message in white text. Such errors can occur either during startup or after a system is running, and they halt a system by default. Term: Bluetooth. Definition: a short-range wireless network used primarily by mobile devices. Term: bollards. Definition: short wood, metal, or concrete posts installed in sidewalks and driveways to allow pedestrian and bike traffic to pass while keeping larger vehicles away. Term: boot methods. Definition: the methods used to load OS files into RAM. Examples are using HD, a thumb drive, a CD, or a network boot. Term: boot sector virus. Definition: similar to a rootkit virus, in that the virus is embedded deep into the computer. In this case, the virus embeds itself into the initial code of the boot sector on a hard drive. Term: brute force attack. Definition: a method of cracking passwords by calculating and using every possible combination of characters until the correct password is discovered. Term: cable. Definition: broadband internet service that is provided by a cable TV company. Broadband can deliver voice, data, and video at one time. Term: cable modem. Definition: a device that encodes and decodes cable internet network signals. It can be connected to a single computer or to a wired or wireless router. Term: cable stripper. Definition: a tool used to strip a portion of the plastic jacket off a cable to expose the individual wires. Term: cable tester. Definition: a tool that tests each wire in a cable and makes sure each one is wired properly. Term: capacitor swelling. Definition: capacitors are used as part of the voltage step-down circuits that provide power to the processor. From 2002 to 2007, many motherboards were built using faulty capacitors that became swollen and leaked, causing system failure and sometimes physical damage to the motherboard. Term: capture card. Definition: a video capture card is equipped to receive HDTV or higher quality signs via HDMI, DVI, or component. Video capture cards have built-in hardware support for MPEG-4 recording and can be used to capture video for training, game recording, YouTube, or broadcast purposes. Some video capture devices connect to a USB port. Term: CAT. Definition: a Linux utility command for writing text into files and printing file content. Term: Cat5. Definition: Category 5 TP cable. Supports fast Ethernet, up to 100 megabits, and uses 24-gauge wires. Term: Cat5e. Definition: Category 5e TP cable. Supports gigabit Ethernet, 10, 100, 1000 Mbps. Term: Cat6. Definition: Category 6 TEP cable. Supports 10G Ethernet, 10, 100, 1000, 10,000 Mbps, and reduces crosstalk for more reliable connections at gigabit speeds. Term, Cat 6A. Definition, Category 6A TIP cable. Supports 10 base T, 100 base T, 1000 base T, and 10G base T, 10 gigabits Ethernet. Term, CD. Definition, a Linux command used to change directories, folders. Term, Certificate Manager, certmanager.msc. Definition, allows the import, export, modification, or deletion of root certificates that manage authentication when sending and receiving information in Windows. Term, Certification of Destruction, Recycling. Definition, offered by a certified third-party material destruction company that verifies the destruction and recycling of material. Term, Chain of Custody. Definition, chronological documentation or paper trail of evidence. Term, Change management. Definition, the process of preparing for changes in a network, including planning, staffing, organizing, and getting feedback from impacted stakeholders. Term, channel. Definition, the wireless spectrum is divided into 11 channels. Part of installing a router on a 2.4 GHz wireless network is selecting an appropriate channel for the signal. Term, charging. Definition, Step 2 of the laser printing process, in which the cylinder-shaped imaging drum receives an electrostatic charge of -600 VDC, or DC voltage, from a conditioning roller. Term, check disk. Definition, a Windows command that scans a specified drive for errors and repairs them. Term, chmod. Definition, a Linux command used to change permissions on files and directories. Term, chown. Definition, a Linux command used to change file ownership. Term, Chrome OS. Definition, Google open-source mobile operating system, which is chiefly designed to run on web-based applications and is installed on Chromebooks, which are an inexpensive laptop option. Term, CIFS. Definition, Common Internet File System, an early standard method for sharing files across corporate internets and the Internet. It has largely been replaced by updated versions of Server Message Block, SMB. Term, clean install. Definition, a fresh installation of the Windows OS as an upgrade or to free up space on the disk. Term, cleaning. Definition, Step 7 of the laser printing process, which involves preparing the drum for a new page by removing the preceding page from the drum by using a discharge lamp. Toner that is not adhering to the surface of the drum is scraped from the drum's surface for reuse. Term, coaxial. Definition, a type of cable that consists of a solid center copper core, insulation, a metal braided jacket for grounding, and a vinyl or plastic outer jacket. It is commonly used for cable TV, cable internet, and satellite internet. Term, community cloud computing. Definition, a type of cloud computing in which organizations with common concerns or goals share a cloud infrastructure. Term, content filtering. Definition, blocking content into a local network or group of users, filtering by web address or inappropriate terms in the content. Term, copy. Definition, a Windows command that copies one or more files to another folder or drive. Term, corporate use license. Definition, a license that covers the use of software by workers in a company or another organization. Term, CP. Definition, a Linux command used to copy files to a specified location. Term, crimper. Definition, a tool used to attach a connector to the end of a raw twisted pair, TP, or coaxial cable. Term, cross-platform virtualization. Definition, a type of application virtualization that can involve different underlying virtualization technologies. Term, cross-site scripting, XSS. Definition, involves tricking a user, often with a link in an email or some other ruse. When an unsuspecting user clicks, the attacker can inject malicious code into a web-based app. Term, crypto miners. Definition, viruses that take over resources of an infected computer for the purpose of mining cryptocurrency, usually Bitcoin. This practice is also known as cryptojacking. Term: cursor drift. Definition: when a screen cursor unintentionally moves across the screen, typically caused by accidentally swiping or pressing on the device's touchpad, or by a problem with the device's integrated pointing stick. Term: data at rest encryption. Definition: encryption of backup data that is at rest, usually archived in data centers and not in current use. Term: DB9. Definition: a 9-pin D-shell connector. Term: Defender antivirus. Definition: the antivirus application built into Windows Defender. This can work in place of or along with third-party antivirus applications.
Term: degaussing. Definition: the process of removing magnetic content from hard drives, magnetic tapes, or other magnetic digital storage.
Term: denial of service, DOS. An attack in which one computer sends an overwhelming number of service requests to a specific target. Term: desktop virtualization. Definition: the creation of a user interface to a computer that is hosted on a central server on the premises or in the cloud. Term: device manager. devmgt.msc. Definition: a Microsoft Windows utility that displays detailed information about the computer hardware in a system, including status and driver information. Term: df. Definition: Linux command used to display used and free space on disks. Term: DHCP. Definition: Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol, a protocol used to automatically assign IP addresses to hosts. DHCP uses ports 67 and 68. Term: dictionary attack. Definition: an attempt to crack passwords by trying all the words in a list, such as a dictionary. A simple list might include commonly used passwords such as 12345678 and password. Term: differential backup. Definition: these backups record data that has changed since the last full backup. They can be done often to ensure that data backups are very current. Term: dig. Definition: domain information grouper, a Linux command that provides information on DNS servers for troubleshooting DNS issues. Term: digital rights management. Definition: the general term for software or service mechanisms that limit the end user's rights to copy, transfer, or use software or digital media. Term: digital visual interface, DVI. Definition: a standard that replaced DFP for the support of LCD displays on desktop computers. DVI-D is for digital displays only. DVI-I supports digital and analog displays, and DVI-A supports analog displays only. Term: digitizer. Definition: a touchscreen display differs from a standard laptop display in that it has a digitizer layer on top of the display panel. The digitizer detects and transmits touches to the laptop processor. Digitizers are also used on touchscreen smartphones, tablets, fitness monitors, smartwatches, phablets, e-readers, and smart cameras. Term: dir. Definition: a Windows command that displays a list of a folder's files and subfolders. Term: direct burial. Definition: versions of UTP and STP cables designed with enough protection on the outer jacket, commonly known as a CMX jacket, to withstand weather, ground moisture, and even direct placement in water. Thank you for watching.